Walter here. It's Trusting Thursday. So I thought I would get on here and do a quick live to see how everyone's doing. I've been posting and reading everyone's comments and love the feedback. Just keep it coming. So I thought today I would just get on here for a minute to talk about Trusting Thursday. So when I came up with how to approach it, there's a number of ways I thought of it this way. So let me give some little quirks and then we can just carry on to where it goes. So everyone probably is watching this is sitting in a chair. Okay. So, but when we go to sit in that chair, we have to trust that the chair will hold our weight. Okay. So typically, trust involves anything you're going to do or that you're about to do. What are your assumptions about what's going to happen next? It's not something you think about. It's something you kind of do. So it's interesting when you reflect back on what you've done. It's easier to see the degree of trust that you've had in the movements you've made, and thereby being able to recognize it when you go forward into the next things in life. So the key thing for us, spiritual fitness folks here, spiritual fitness training, we're going to exercise our brain and look at the world a little differently. The key question would be, do you trust yourself? Right? You know, everyone that's here has their own perspective on everything, and rightfully so. It's kind of like if I go to buy a car and I go to a particular dealership and I ask the salesman to help me select a car, he's going to look at me, make his own personal assessment of who I am and what I need, and he's going to try to sell me a car that he thinks that I need. He's not going to sell me the car that I believe I need. Well, it's very similar with everything else in life. When you ask for people's opinions, and we may not outrightly ask for opinions, people are free to give them, you know. So I kind of let them blow off my back. That's what I do. I say, thank you very much, but I'm doing me. But you don't have to say that. Um, when you trust yourself, you're able to make confident movements based on some sound basis of what you believe. Right? Um, I know I'm getting out there, but this is spiritual fitness training, so we're in training. So all that being said, since we all have our own perspectives, and everyone has different needs and requirements, and everyone has different shortcomings, and is on the same spiritual path, we have to give ourselves a little bit more credit in terms of trusting ourselves, in terms of knowing what to do. And that's why we do spiritual fitness training so that we can understand our emotions, what the universe is leading and guiding us to do. Most of the things we talk about in this group and when we talk about spiritual fitness has to do with our own inner person, our own inner self. Okay? Because that's all we know. We can't change the way a person feels about us. We can't change or even know what a person thinks about us. We might guess what they think about us, and a lot of people live their life that way, and it's not too comforting, I guess. I wouldn't know. I don't do that because I have to know and trust my inner guidance, which we're growing here and now developing it in more depth and detail on how to determine what it is and use it appropriately. And I know everyone else has the same capability, but they may or may not be using it. Um, a lot of times, if you put your trust in others, they have issues in their lives that they're putting on you, and we can only see through the lens of ourselves. And everyone is that way. That's I don't. That's just how our perception is. We see in others what we want to see. We can't see who they really are. So likewise for ourselves, we have to then learn to see within ourselves our true self. And that's what the spiritual path is about. And the spiritual path starts at a good place. And there's only good things about you to know from that perspective. Everything else that we tend to know and think about ourselves, we've either learned or been taught directly or indirectly. So today when I was thinking about it, I said, oh, it's like you have to do an archaeological dig on yourself to figure out, how many layers of tar you have to strip off. When you grow up, you're either too short, too fat, too skinny. You were good at this or bad at that, and people tend to think of that way about you and project it back at you. And at a young age, you might not be aware of what's really going on because you really look up to your adults, the elders, the church, the politicians, the ball players, the whoever. It's only when you get older you find out they didn't really have it all together to begin with. And you might have had it together when you were a kid, you know. You kind of like you can't listen to yourself. You got to listen to these people, right? So anyway, that's why we're here. Not many people do this kind of work, but we're here in spiritual training, spiritual fitness training. So we're going to be fit enough to understand the truth about who and what we are and know how to live our life accordingly. And that's an inside job, all right? So even when it comes to dealing with external things, people, relationships, whatever, you can't control the other person. You can only control yourself. And what you'll find is, as you spiritually progress in your studies or whatever, that's all that really counts, and everyone has their own inner perspective. You know, you can't give someone who's poor money because they won't keep it because they declare themselves as poor at a spiritual and universal level. So even if they got $1 million, they will only have it maybe 15 minutes. Okay, a year. Okay, but that's the general idea. So the things that we truly have, no one can ever take away, and the things that we truly have, the universe is calling us to. That's why we don't feel good when we have the feelings of not being yeah, of not being adequate or out of balance. That's a form of malalignment with the truth that our soul and heart knows. Okay, so those are the kinds of things we're becoming more aware of, and that's why I've kind of structured these topics for the days of the week right now. So, where are you placing your trust? Do you trust that you're going to be able to connect with your own true self and then live your life accordingly? And when you do that, it's not something to discuss with others. This is your. All right. So in spirituality, it's an inside job. It's something you have to know within yourself, study. You learn from other people, such as me. But you're supposed to take the information and let it settle in your mind and try to apply it in your life because words are cheap, I guess you could say. You need to experience some of these things. That's the only way to really, quote unquote, they used to say, get it. That was a term that was used, I don't know, 70s or something. But so all this I'm saying is, as we begin to trust ourselves, it's required because we can only know ourselves. And we're judging everything from ourselves. But as we clear up, as I say, the archaeology on the person, I like that term, and we get rid of the dust from the years that people have put on us and the old tar and strip that away, we come up to the pristine idea of who and what we really are as a universal being. And that was the message that Jesus and all of the spiritual leaders had for us. What they were doing was trying to show us the pure nature that we have within us. They call it love, you know, all the big words, prosperous, happy, all those things that we would want. And that's why generally everything we do in life is better to make us feel better. So we're supposed to feel good all the time. That's the ultimate objective. And with appropriate perspective on this, we'll experience prosperity, health, happiness, and all that a full life. That doesn't mean there won't be problems, but the problems are not seen as problems. The problems are seen as road markers for where you need to make an adjustment within yourself. When you make the adjustment within yourself, the problems become non-factors. They're just there. I mean, you can have people around you that are just problematic, but they just don't because you know who you are. And their heart and soul knows it, and that's how they know when you're coming from a point of strength. And most people are somewhat intimidated by that. But again, that's not really for you to worry about because you know on your spiritual path that everything you do is about love, truth, and honesty, which is the basics for everything. So what we're doing is stripping away all those layers of all that stuff that's been put on us over the years as we go back to find our true spiritual origin and see how we can let, quote unquote, that light shine in our lives and in our weeks. That's Shining Sunday is the thing for that. So that's why we have the different topics. Like I said, it's not something that should take up your whole day. It's something that you just think about. Take the concept, read whatever I put up here, or any book or scripture you're reading, or inspirational story, or anything in life for that matter, and just see how it fits in. You know, and take it from there. And that's how you learn. And then it becomes real to you. Because right now, this is just a lot of words, unless you've experienced some of it. But, you know, I could talk a long time, and this is supposed to be informal, but uh, a lot of what we do, we intellectualize, right? And we'll make work out of it. Whereas everything is kind of already taken care of for us. But we can only know that when we trust and realize that the universe loves us. Now, that's something that we have between our own self and the universe. We can never have that between other people out here, groups of people and different things. Even family, they have their own agendas, and that's fine because that's between them and the universe. Now, if we're all coming from a universal perspective of love and all that, we'll all meet up at the right place. But if they're not coming from there, it's like water and oil sometime, you know. And so the stuff they throw at you becomes non-factor because you know who you are. You can stand in your own light and with the justification of the universe that's behind you. You don't think about how you breathe. Even the birds and the animals, they really don't think about what they're going to eat. And we're the only ones worried about what we're going to eat. They're going to close the stores or whatever, go buying all this toilet paper and stuff. We make our own limitation and we all live under it, which is okay. That's the way we've progressed and developed. That's how we chose to relate to the physical world, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Remember, nothing is bad. It's just relative. The real issue is that we maintain our alignment with the truth that is within us and observe all these things going on in the world and be thankful because only the good that aligns with us comes to us. Meanwhile, we can watch everything like it's a movie. There are no problems that you really have to worry about. It's all taken care of. That's true trust right there. So as we're growing, stature as they call it in the Bible and all like that, you walk in this faith. They call it the walk of the righteous. That's what it's called. So when you look up those terms, that's what that's all about. Um, and I think I've been talking too much already. So um, suffice to say, happy Trusting Thursday. So trust yourself. Trust that you can connect with yourself, connect with the universe, and allow that connection to see you to happy and better places in everyday experiences and in life in general. And you'll notice that when you do that for like a week or so, someone's going to come up to you and say, "What happened? You seem a little different." Watch, it happens all the time. So anyway, that's it for now. Appreciate any comments. Tell me if I talk too much. That's fine. That's fine with me because I know I'm connected to the universe. It's all good. That's why I can be crazy here with you guys. So hopefully you feel as comfortable coming on, leaving comments. How was your day? If you thought about these things, are the topics too broad, too much, or what? I can tailor everything based on what we need. As you can tell, I like to talk once I get started, so I'm going to stop right here. So have a good evening, and we'll be in touch somewhere here or there. Have a good night.